That shit is crazy.
Breaking news. GTA 6 has gotten delayed again. Part of me is frustrated and sick and tired of being tired. The other one just honestly just doesn't care. But you know something? I wouldn't have cared as much to make a video regarding this subject if I didn't see this. For those of you wondering what this in question is, well, let me tell you a little something, and it kind of goes a little like this. Let's just say 2 or 3 weeks ago, Rockstar laid off / fired. Let's just say for sake of example, they fired upwards of 30 to 40, maybe even more, senior directors, senior developers, and senior talent over there at Rockstar Games. Which then, of course, led to one of the biggest walkouts as of recently that I can remember from the gaming industry, with multiple news outlets covering this story, accusing Rockstar of union busting. What is union busting, you may ask, my naive friend? Well, union busting kind of goes a little something like this. Union busting is a practice of employers or their agents trying to prevent employees from joining a union or to weaken or destroy existing unions. And one thing that you guys don't know, and honestly, I kind of a little already knew this because we tried to do something a little like this at my job, but you guys aren't here about me. But penalties for union busting, which violates NLRA, includes civil penalties and fines upwards of $100,000 and having to pay for the financial harms caused to the employees, such as back pay, damages for things like housing or medical costs, paternity leave, and of course, they can be fined upwards of $100,000 per violation and per employee that was fired before the class action lawsuit comes. It's a very illegal and immoral practice, if you will. And for such, doubling penalties can oftentimes be taken into consideration and a factor for repeat offenses. And Rockstar is in very, very deep trouble, you see. You know, it's kind of funny how this type of thing works out. And you want to know the thing that I've noticed, my little friends? Is that nobody panics when things go according to plan, even if the plan in question is horrifying. Let me just give an example. If tomorrow I make a video saying Ubisoft is getting sued or Xbox is going out of business, nobody panics. That's the funny part, because it's all part of the plan. But if I was to say, for example, one little old overpaid, not what the fuck CEO should get robbed or otherwise even worse, then everyone loses their minds. They oftentimes make me the bad guy. But you know, I am not the bad guy. I just say what everybody else is thinking, my friend. These people that will gaslight me and they'll say that I'm crazy, and I'm not crazy. I am not. No, I'm not. I am just a man with common sense, and that was raised right. But I have learned 2 things in this evil, evil world. If you are good at something, you never do such thing for free. And the other thing I realize is that you need people like me. You need people like me in question to point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. Because there will always be a scapegoat. There'll always be a bad guy in question that everybody should be blaming instead of the person that is doing wrong and doing injustice in this world. And God forbid if you speak out against it, then the sheep in question that will blindly follow that person, well, they'll turn their blind anger and their frustrations out on you. Okay, let me get serious for this video. Actually, that was a really good Joker impression. I was rewatching all the Dark Knight movies as of recently. I think I can pass as a good Joker if they was to recast a black Joker. I think it's passable, you know. But I'm not here to talk about that or my method acting skills. I'm here to talk about how Rockstar is one of the most disgusting, most entitled, dangerous developers and publishers in the gaming industry today. GTA 6 got delayed again, and like I said before, this isn't about GTA 6 getting delayed. I always said that if the game is polished and finished, even if it means it getting delayed a couple of times, then I do not care. I don't care not one bit how many times it gets delayed if it means that we're getting a fully finished product, that we're going to be giving them 70 or God forbid even more money depending on the additions. What I'm here today to talk about is how disgusting Rockstar is as a company. They always have been and they always will be. How many more videos from me is it really going to take? And I didn't even add these videos that you guys are seeing in question on the screen right now into a playlist, into a dedicated playlist, because I made so many videos about Rockstar Games being horrible. It is too much to keep track with. It is way too much, even for my standards, to keep up with. You have a better chance of catching up with the Kardashians than my countless amount of rant videos about Rockstar Games. You can binge watch the entirety of The Sopranos and you will still not be caught up on my rants about Rockstar Games. But how much more of my blood in question is going to be spilled? How much more do I have to take in order for something to change around here? Because I feel like if I crash out on Rockstar Games again, I will be reincarnated as King Von. I've said this before, I'll say it again. And that is my worst nightmare, if I'm going to be honest with you. Being reincarnated into a YN serial killer. If you needed any more unrefutable proof and without a shadow of a doubt proof about how bad and how insufferable and how downright fucking disgusting Rockstar Games is when it comes to not only treating their fan bases, but also their own developers and workers that make their games for them, then look no further here. Because not only is Rockstar Games being accused, and pretty much it's not much more of an accusation as much as it is further undeniable proof about them union busting, but how they went about it and the details that they will try to gaslight you into thinking and believing is true is absolutely ridiculous. What do I mean by that? Is, well, the screenshot that you guys seen through my whole Joker method acting act that you guys bear witness to, that was an actual Rockstar Games anonymous employee that spoke out on the GTA forums about what is really going on behind the scenes and is actually giving clarity about what's happening behind the scenes at Rockstar Games and why GTA 6 got delayed in the first place. Now, Rockstar, their side of the story as to why they fired 30 to 40 senior dev employees and they want you to naively believe is that the devs in question was leaking things about GTA 6 on their Discord server or on Discord servers. But let me put a pause to that and let me give a twofold answer argument about that statement. Number one, if that is deemed to be true, we would have seen the leaks already. Because let's be honest here. Nobody in 2025 can keep a secret, and that's a damning indictment, to say the least. And part two of this answer is that even if it is true, we haven't seen any leaks in question. And if they was to take this to courts and do something about this, they would have to show the leaks and then show the public what they leaked, which goes into my first answer of this whole entire ordeal, is that we didn't see any leaks. If there was leaks in question, we would have seen it. Because, like I said before, nobody can keep a secret, especially about GTA 6. Because anything that got leaked about GTA 6, we would have known about it already. And even if it was true, is firing them really going to unring that bell? But here is the truth from the Rockstar Games employee and GTA developer himself that will give way more clarity than Rockstar Games ever will. And instead, they will try to gaslight and make up lies to cover their own ass. And I quote, "Hey everyone, Rockstar employee of many years here. Understandably, I want to remain anonymous due to retaliation from the company, but I may be willing to verify I'm an employee with Spire Device via DM if required. I am also a member of the union. I have been reading a lot of the discussion on here and elsewhere about the firing of more than 34 of my colleagues last week, 31 in the UK, 3 in Canada, and have seen a lot of disinformation and lies that are really concerning, particularly concerning how so many folk are willing to believe the company's excuses. Last week, my colleagues who were in the studio were each individually messaged by HR for a short, friendly meeting under the friendly guise of, "Hey, are you free for a quick chat?" Upon attending this meeting, they were handed an envelope with a short letter stating that their employment had been terminated for gross misconduct regarding posts made in Discord. They failed to provide any evidence when asked, nor was any stated in the letter, and did not divulge any other information or reasoning, and no other reason. They refused their right to union representation in the disciplinary meeting, which is against UK employment law, and were frog marched out of the studio, with the meeting lasting less than 5 minutes. For colleagues who were not in the studio that day, they received a phone call from HR that lasted less than 2 minutes telling them that they were fired and that they would receive the same letter as above. I am aware one employee had a panic attack at this moment, and HR hung up on them during this panic attack and not caring at all about their well-being.
I beg your pardon?
Okay, Trey, calm down. Trey, calm down before you pop a brain aneurysm and you turn into the real-life Punisher. Let me calm down before I turn into the real-life Punisher. Anyways, these colleagues of mine were hard workers who have spent many years at Rockstar in critical roles with colleagues who have been at Rockstar for more than 18 years, and none of them have ever had any disciplinary in that time. They are not easily replaced and will certainly affect us in making our project deadlines. These are senior artists, animators, QA testers, designers, programmers, and producers, including leads, all super talented people who were proud of their work over multiple Rockstar titles, and they wanted what was the best for Rockstar and their fellow colleagues. Some of these members were off sick, recovering from surgery, or on paternity leave, fired without pay, losing their careers, putting them into hardship in the lead up to Christmas, and even potentially losing their visas to work in the UK. Let me make this clear. I never saw any discussion / leaking of Rockstar projects in the union Discord. The only ever discussion was around unionization efforts and the working conditions at Rockstar. The Discord wasn't public. It was a private Discord group that only certain Rockstar employees and IWGB union officials. This was union busting and nothing else. Everyone fired was a union member. There was also predominantly those who were on the union organizing committees of each UK studio. Just 1 week before, the union had reached 200 members, taking us over the 10% threshold required to seek recognition and begin engaging in collective bargaining, allowing us to negotiate directly with management on the key issues that affect us, worsening crunch, inadequate pay, and inflexible working arrangements. They have fired over 34 of us now. There were over 250 of us in that union / employee Discord group. There is fear that if they get away with this, they'll have nothing stopping them from doing this again and again. Those of us who are lucky to remain now work in fear, fearful when talking to each other at the tea prep, fearful that we're next in line and are easy to get rid of, too scared to go outside the studio and talk to or even acknowledge our colleagues outside protesting in fear of reprisals. Morale in the studio is at rock bottom when we should be excited about what's to come over the next year. We are now totally deflated, and our confidence in others is totally shot, which is truly the heartbreaking part. As far as us in the union, all of our ambition was to make Rockstar a happier, fairer, safer, and more equitable place. That's all. What has happened clearly shows that we care more about the well-being of our colleagues at Rockstar than the company does. The union remains unbowed and is fighting to win the reinstatement of every dismissed member of staff at Rockstar, though through legal means and campaigning. This fight is critical. If Rockstar can get away with this, they will keep treating their workers with disdain, disrespect, subjecting them to continued illegal treatment. Thank you for your time, and I hope this is some truth that helps you all understand what's going on here at the moment. If you would be so kind, you can contribute to the fundraiser to support those fighting their dismissal here. It would be really appreciated if you could also share the above link. I won't be cross-posting this to other forums, but please feel free to share. Cheers. Now, I know that this is a lot to unravel and a lot to discuss, but let me just start off by saying this. How fucking sad and how fucking pathetic these people at Rockstar Games is. The fact that the union and the forming of the union and the people that's in the union care more about the colleagues that's working under Rockstar than Rockstar Games themselves. Which goes into what I was saying regarding the last few rant videos that I said about the gaming industry. When I tell these people and when I tell my subscribers that the gaming industry is ran by nothing but sea crabs and nothing else. They can and will fold under zero pressure whatsoever, and they will get rid of you at the drop of a hat if it means that they'll save a whole nickel. So not only do we have an excuse from Rockstar about firing these employees, which is a downright lie, to say the least, and putting it very truthfully, about them leaking stuff about GTA 6 and future projects in Discord servers, but now that there is an official Rockstar Games employee that has been there for many years that came out and said that rebuttal from Rockstar Games is not true, not even in the slightest bit, and outright said that HR called people that wasn't there in the studio, and it was a 2-minute call each, saying that they had been fired without any evidence and without any more or less reason as to why they are getting fired, and having people that was having panic attacks over the phone straight up hung up on them is absolutely downright fucking disgusting. And when I tell people that HR is not your friend when you're working these corporate jobs and working a job in general, let me tell you a quick story. So over the past 4 years, I have been working a dead-ass, bum-ass 9-to-5 job and a part-time job at that I genuinely hate. The morale is at an all-time low because I'm in retail. The morale is never up, and the only people that have morale at these fucking studios is always the upper management and, of course, the managers that is in charge of us normal back-breaking employees. And I got a call from HR. They wanted to call me into a meeting about how my performance, quote unquote, is slacking at the job. And I told them straight up, I do not like working here. This is a check and nothing else. If I had the opportunity to work someplace else, I would not be working here. That is straight up. I am still working here in question, but HR in question want to act like they're your friends, but at the drop of a hat, they will read off some robotic AI slop from a piece of paper saying that you have been let go, and they will not even give you a proper reason as to why you've been let go. They are not your friends. They never have been, and they never will be. They are just as worse, if not just as bad, as the people that you work for in your corporate jobs that take their jobs way too seriously and do not care about the well-being of their employees. And for this to happen to Rockstar Games employees that is has either called off sick, have been recovering from surgery, and even on paternity leave, makes this situation even more disgusting and downright insufferable. And only now, and this is the thing, only now that people have been coming out and making YouTube videos saying, oh, Rockstar Games is horrible. Oh, Rockstar Games is truly the devil of the gaming industry. Rockstar Games is evil. And I'm like, hello, I have been saying this for over a part of 7 or 8 years. And this is the thing that I'm twisted about. Over like the past 7 or 8 years, I have been telling people with a straight face and showing irrefutable proof how garbage and how dog shit Rockstar is regarding their customer base and, of course, their employees. But, of course, people will try to gaslight me saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, delete your channel. This is such a mid-take. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. He's just hating, he's a hater. But, of course, if something like this happens, then, of course, the new people that's jumping on board about this narrative that hasn't said a single word about this thing, now nobody is saying anything about them. Nobody dares to say anything about them. But as soon as I was saying this very same thing over the course of 7 or 8 years, people looking at me like I'm the crazy one. And that's the part where I'm twisted at. And see, here's the thing. Part of me, when I saw the GTA 6 like announcement about the game being delayed a second time to November whatever of 2026, basically a whole nother year and some change from now. I saw this news about Rockstar Games employees that got let go or protesting outside the offices, and like these employees that's coming out and telling us what's really happening. I already put two and two together. Rockstar Games union busted, and then of course they don't want to get away with it. They wanted to get away with it, but of course these Rockstar Games employees aren't having it. They want their jobs back, and they want the public to know that that what Rockstar Games is doing is nothing short of illegal. And now, since it's on the front page of every single news article in the country and across the world, and now they're putting two and two together about GTA 6 getting delayed because of this union busting, and of course because of the protests and possible lawsuits that's gonna happen, of course on top of the possible penalties that Rockstar Games could be facing for union busting. Now the narrative is that they're going to be delaying this game because of that, and they're going to take the time to deal with their legal troubles and try to smooth things out before GTA 6 come out so they won't lose out on GTA 6 sales. And notice how when this whole entire ordeal happened, Rockstar immediately tried to come out with a statement and try to spin the narrative in their favor, talking about the developers in question was leaking things. And like I said before, if they were leaking things about GTA 6, we would have seen it by now. Who could have kept a secret about GTA 6? It already got leaked before. I wouldn't be surprised if it got leaked again, honestly. Because ever since then, the trailers have been getting leaked left, right, and center. But for them to outright come out with lies and lie straight up to our faces about what the Rockstar Games employees was doing, that's honestly more than enough for them to be sued right then and there. And you know something? I made a video about 3, maybe 4 years ago. I think this was back in like 2022 or something along those lines, when I talked about the state of AAA gaming, or quote unquote quadruple A gaming. I'm using that term very loosely, about how these companies, or how more or less the developers, how I pretty much said that the developers should grow a pair of balls and actually form unions so they can come up with a compromise so they can make their games better and have better pay, and of course not have the customers and their fan base get the short end of the stick when getting a fully unfinished game. And you want to know something? In those comments of those videos, I'll try to bring it up right now, and I'll try to bring up the clip in question. From my understanding, the devs are the ones that's passionate about the game. They're the ones busting their ass, pulling in 10, 12-hour shifts a day to make sure that these games are mostly finished by the time it's supposed to be released. I understand that. But at what point do we start blaming the developers for not growing a pair of balls, for not walking out the damn studio, for not going and forming a union and going on strike against these publishers until they actually come up with some demands and come up to a mutual agreement so they can get their games finished on time for the customers that paid money for these games? A lot of people in that video in question was saying, this is such a misinformed take. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. That's not how this works. Well, to my knowledge, now fast forward to 2025, now that they actually did try to form a union, guess what? They want to fire them because they don't want a union in their doggone workspace, or a multi-billion-dollar studio outright refuses and will outright declare war on their own employees and not pay them adequately or pay them fairly or treat them fairly. This is just marvelous, bruh. This is just doodle dandy.
You can't keep getting away with this! He can't keep getting away with it! He won't.
So not only do we have AAA studios that just completely commit to free-range sea crab activity down at the bottom of the ocean in Bikini Bottom, but now we have habitual gaslighters, entitled and greedy, overpaid CEOs that shouldn't even be getting paid as much as they are. But now we have AAA studios and publishers that is completely fine with breaking the law and expecting not to get penalized for it. But let me shelve all of this. Let me just, for the sake of argument, if for whatever which reason, if you're still a Rockstar Games knob gobbler and you disagree with what I'm saying here in this video, At the very, very, very least, you must admit that Rockstar Games continuing to fly off the handle, continuing to be completely committed to sea crab activity, and completely engaging in illegal practices is putting the gaming industry, their fan base, and the overall well-being of their employees at risk, and they have been doing this for years now. Rockstar is completely endangering the video game industry. And when I tell people that the fate of the video game industry rests in Rockstar hands, I don't exaggerate this. And like I said before countless amount of times in other rant videos as of recently, GTA 6 is going to be what makes or breaks the gaming industry. What do I mean by that? Is that now that we have depreciating consoles that is being completely price gouged, and people are getting locked out of 5-year-old consoles, and they're raising the prices of 5-year-old consoles, and they're completely engaged in completely being sea crabs, and they also want to charge $70 and now upwards of $80 for video games, and they're also on top of pre-order bonuses, on top of microtransaction money, on top of letting go and laying off their employees. Now the video game industry is gonna crash or not, depending on how well GTA 6 does. And to tell you the honest truth, GTA 6 will possibly be what completely breaks the video game industry in half as a whole, in and of its entirely. But if it doesn't, it has an opportunity to happen after GTA 6 come out. GTA 6 is going to come out with GTA Online 2, and then of course, while on top of not only another year of milking GTA Online to death and completely milking GTA 5 for all its fucking worth, of course, they're going to do the very same thing for another 13 to 15, maybe even 20 years, who's to say? And then when that happens, every single publisher and their mother is going to try to emulate this very same thing from Rockstar Games. And then of course, when that inevitably fails and everybody stops buying these games and everybody completely just gives up on AAA gaming, then we're going to have the 1980s all over again, where the video game industry is going to crash, people is going to go out of business, people are going to lose their jobs, the video game industry is pretty much going to completely reset. And the only people that I feel that will be left as of this juncture of all junctures, of course, would be Rockstar Games, because of course Rockstar just completely just has a foothold over this gaming industry. And in my opinion, Rockstar Games is one of two of the main front runners of the gaming industry as a whole, along with EA. But at the very same time, as much as I give EA flack and as much as I rant about EA, as of recently has kind of got it together. And one of the reasons why they got it together was because they got bought out by the Saudi Arabians, and they're about $30 billion in debt. So they got to start making good games to try to get out of debt sooner. But of course, Rockstar Games hasn't been in debt, and they haven't been in debt for decades now. And unfortunately, you know what it's really gonna take for something to change? A whack job or some type of two-faced villain to come out and actually pop one of these CEOs or doing some type of harm onto these Rockstar Studios because they got sick and tired of waiting for GTA 6. And then of course, or in retaliation to what's going on right now in current events about these Rockstar employees losing their jobs. And of course, when this happens, only then we're gonna have a constructive dialogue, and we're gonna have a dialogue and a sit-down conversation as to what we should have been having to start off with about the whole entire ordeal regarding GTA 6 and how workers in the AAA gaming land space and environment as a whole should be treated, how they should be paid, and how outright disgusting these corporate studios have been acting for years now. God forbid something like this happens, but when it happens, it's not if it happens, it's when it's gonna happen. That's only then we're gonna have a constructive sit-down dialogue and talk about what's going on and what we can do to fix this and come up with a compromise. But then only in the meantime, the GTA 6 Glazers and the Rockstar Games nut riders, they'll be like, oh, this is such a mid-take. You don't know what you're talking about. Delete your channel. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, it is it? Well, then shove this take down your throat. Until GTA 6 comes out and Rockstar actually pays their employees correctly and treat them fairly, on top of making me another Midnight Club game after about 16 or 17 years, don't speak to me about what is a mid-take or not. Because this situation is outright disgusting. It is completely downright insufferable, and it's completely goddamn fucking embarrassing. It's completely, utterly embarrassing. I gotta end this video off right here and now before I have to make a doggone announcement about me going to the hospital because I had a heart attack. I can't with Rockstar Games anymore. I'm done with them. They give me a hernia. Let me know what you guys think about this video down in the comment section down below. Or don't. I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do.